So last month, Congress issued a 27-page report on stablecoins, and the conclusion of this report was that stablecoin issuers should be treated like banks and have to become federally insured depository institutions in order to issue a stablecoin. I think that's fundamentally wrong. And this kind of comes on the heels of Tether and the problems with Tether. And, in all honesty, you don't go through three auditors when you're purporting to claim that you have an equal amount of reserve that you have in circulation. That just doesn't happen if you don't have an issue with the audit. Auditors don't quit. They make too much money, right? So, but when you're looking at this concept of requiring stablecoin issuers to be federally insured depository institutions like banks, there's two problems. Number one, does that mean that a stablecoin issuer has to be a BSA compliant, Bank Secrecy Act compliant entity? And the answer is probably yes, which would require wallet providers and all that to do KYC, and issuers to do KYC on the holders of stablecoins, which, to be honest with you, is fantastical to think that you could really even do that, considering that most transactions are peer-to-peer and so on and so forth. But, it's like opening a bank account, right? Like you open a bank account, what do? Well, they take your ID, they run your background, they run your credit, they do all these things. They do KYC on you, right? And so if you're going to suggest that there are these federally chartered institutions just like banks, well, then it triggers the MSB-like requirement for KYC and AML. And I don't see how that's possible, right? It just doesn't seemingly work. And like with Tether, for instance, you see like Tether offers redemptions in Europe, but doesn't offer redemptions in the United States because it doesn't want to be an MSB, because it can't comply with Bank Secrecy Act regulations. So that's the first part. The second part is fundamentally, if you assume that a stablecoin issuer has to be a bank, is that actually better than the current regime, which is effectively nothing? Because banks only hold, on average, about 10% of the assets they have under management. So aren't you suggesting, by effectively requiring stablecoin issuers to become banks, that they could proceed to lend or otherwise not hold some 90% of the assets under management? So if you take the Tether example, right, they say they have $3 billion in cash sitting somewhere. Well, if I'm a bank, right, that's how I make money. I don't keep the money on reserve. That's like the whole concept of why you don't want to have a run on the banks, because they don't have the money, right? The money's been lent out or invested in what have you. And so I don't see it being fundamentally an improvement over what's nothing. I don't think that there should be no regulation, but perhaps making stablecoin issuers like banks is actually doing the opposite of what they purport to want to make it happen. But there's a long way to go. This was just a report done by Congress, and as so much that goes through Congress, nothing ever happens. But hopefully this won't happen, because I don't see it actually being beneficial for stablecoin users or stablecoin or crypto investors, right? As a sort of a flight to safety vehicle, it's going to actually do the opposite. So that's my take on stablecoin paper. I'll post the congressional report if you're bored out of your mind and want to read something, to my website, adamtracy.io, and I will talk to you soon. Cheers.